Okay, so first of all, pardon me for being sick, my voice being weird, and I may cough a few times, but it is what it is. Today's a really big day for the build. Now, this video takes place over a 2-day period, but I started by, I got some real cheap Project Source paint from Lowe's. I think it's like $1.47 a can. I got 4 cans. I got 2 cans of flat and then 2 cans of gloss. And the reason why, after I grinded all these welds down, which I grinded some down better than others. I mean, they're all going to be covered, and I have to paint before I seam seal because it's just, I don't feel comfortable seam sealing bare metal. I know you can do it, but I just don't find it to be the best idea. That can cause rut if there's any pinholes or anything. So I feel like I just felt better about doing it this way. So I put obviously a coat of the flat down first, and then I put a coat of the gloss down. Now, I started feeling a little ill during this during this scene, actually. Like, I started, and the fumes were horrible. This paint, I don't know, it even smells cheap. It's disgusting. It smells like sweet or something. It's gross. But or maybe it's just because I'm sick. But having 4 kids that have been sick for like a month straight, I was bound to finally get it. But as you all know, the show must go on. I cannot sit inside, even if I'm sick. There's no way. It's just, I can't waste an entire day. So I went ahead and got into this project, and I'm just, it's not that I'm getting antsy, but I just really want to get this somewhere. I want to see more progress. And I had like these little stupid things that needed wrapped up. Like, you'll see here soon, there were some little like holes that were still like in the floor. Not holes, but like there were areas where I didn't have any metal in yet, that you could see through the floor. And just two small areas right back where I'm at right now, actually, in the left and right hand corner of the back of where like your feet would be if you were sitting in the back seat. And you'll see I get to that, but little odds and ends that like I just kind of wanted to get done so that I can actually get this interior done. And now that I had the seats mocked up and everything, I knew that I could just go ahead with this. I took the seats out to get to this process, but I had to. The order of things, as you know, anyone who does this knows that like you have to paint, then you seam seal, then you gotta. Depending on what you use for sound deadening, I decided to go with not dynamite. I keep saying that. I decided to go with Kilmat, and I don't have any experience with either one for a floor. I've done it in trunks before for sound systems, but this is what I was talking about, this little area here. On both sides, I needed to kind of cut these into weird shapes to get them to fit in there just right. But I didn't really have like a preference of which sound deadening to use, so I just went with Kilmat. And I was waiting for it to arrive. I knew it was coming on this day, along with the seam sealer and a couple other things that I'll get to later. But ultimately, my goal was to, at least before I go to bed on this night, I wanted to get the floor completely prepped and dynamited and just ready for carpet. So I went ahead and I wasn't sure what time all my stuff was arriving, but I knew that I had to get a couple things done first. And also, as you guys know, I still don't have a tunnel. And I had a couple interruptions during the day. Every time I left the house, I was out looking for signs on the side of the road, or like a free grill or anything that had metal on it, that I could just bend a tunnel out of. And ultimately, I thought, well, I have a barrel sitting in my backyard that I completely forgot about that's just trashed. And it's not trashed, but it was an empty barrel that I bought that I was going to turn into a grill, a charcoal grill. I was going to cut it in half and put hinges on it and put it in my old outdoor kitchen that I never finished. And so after demoing the outdoor kitchen and using the wood to pretty much build that shed that you see behind me, I decided that this barrel just was, it had no purpose. It was just rotting. So what better solution than a barrel? I mean, it's already pre-corrugated. It's solid. It's nice and thick. It's not thin metal. So I just decided a barrel is about 36 inches long. I only needed it to be about 14 inches, but I figure I hated that rear part, that rear tunnel that was in there. It was like, I don't even know what it was made out of, but it was like galvanized something, but it didn't weld very good, so I just decided to make the entire tunnel out of this, and it'll just look better, it'll be stronger, and I'm not cutting the other one out. I'm just going to put this right over top of it, which you'll see momentarily, but it ended up working out just fine. And I can't believe, here I am, I'm literally driving around, I'm trying to find a piece of like a street sign, how ridiculous. And I have a a barrel out there rotting away, and it's already pre-bent, pre-corrugated. It was the roundness of it, like the way it is perfect, but as perfect as it seemed, I don't know what kind of chemical was inside of it, but it was disgusting. And I spent 4 solid hours, and I'm not exaggerating, I didn't show the process because why would I? 4 solid hours scraping. It was like gum, but it wasn't gum. It was like orange and brown, but it was like a gum texture that was melted and thick all over the inside, and it smelled horrific. And I had to use like gas and salt. I tried like all these different like alcohols and solvents to try to break it down, to wipe it off, and ultimately I had to scrape it off with a chisel and a screwdriver and get it down close, and then I sanded it, and then I used that Corasil, the rust, whatever you call it. It turns rust into primer, and then I used that and then I painted. So then all of my stuff came, and I got this rubber edging right here to go on the edges of my seats, because my seats are sharp as hell and you cut yourself on them getting in and out of the car. I got that little roller down there for the Kilmat. You need to roll it, by the way, which you'll see I do that in the future. But I got my seam sill, which it's kind of weird. I ordered 2, but I only got 1 for some reason, which ended up being plenty enough. I still have some left over after doing the entire floor, actually. And then I ordered some brake line here. I struggle a bit to, get all these packages open. Rocket science. But yeah, 25 foot of brake line. I'm hoping that'll cut it. If not, it's okay. But it's the copper nickel so that I can kind of bend it, myself. And then I got a Brake Master cylinder here that's ginormous, and it's not going to work, and I already sent it back. But that's okay. You live and you learn. It was on sale and it was really cheap, so I thought maybe it'll work, and the size looked very deceiving online. It looked really small. So then I got my Kilmat, which this tiny little box, surprisingly, believe it or not, did my entire car and my trunk, which you'll see in the future as well. But yeah, this is just the 50 mil. Like there's 50 mil and then there's 80 mil, and this is the 50 mil with 50 square feet. If any of you guys are looking to do your hot rod, I did my entire car with it, which you'll see. But I started getting right to work. All this, I planned all this out perfectly. Like the paint was dry just in time for me to do the seam seal. The tunnel isn't in yet. It was still drying. It was taking forever to dry. It was freezing this day. It was probably 45 degrees out. So it was taking forever for everything to dry, but I got done everything that I could while it was drying, so then I could just jump to it, and I seam sewed everything up to the tunnel and in the front and everywhere but the tunnel, basically. And the seam sew, it was white, which doesn't matter. I thought it was going to be black, but obviously it doesn't matter. I'm going to be kilmatting and carpeting the floor. But as you can see, I did everything but the tunnel. And I don't know, this stuff, it took, I don't know if it was the weather or what, but it took a while to dry as well. It wasn't that bad. It was about an hour, but there's the barrel, and as you can see, like it worked out perfectly. I mean, it was the exact size that I needed. Solid. I mean, I can sit on it. It doesn't flex. It doesn't move. This was a horrible situation, by the way. I grinded, a little. I didn't show myself grinding it, but if you look closely, I grinded a little, pathway there for me to be able to weld. I had to grind the paint back off, and whatever, the bottom of the barrel still wasn't 100% dry, and I took a chance of I could have started a fire, but it was dry. It was just tacky a little bit. It's not like it was like soaking wet paint, but the smell, there still must have been some of that chemical or whatever, still on the bottom side of the barrel. Every in between, like every 2 or 3 welds, I had to go out in the garage, or I had to leave the garage and go outside and breathe, because it like, I can't even describe the smell, the chemical smell, but it couldn't be good. I felt like if I was actually afraid breathing it in. I had my shirt over my face, but as you can see, like there was some flammage going on in between welds, and it was just, if I would have recorded the process of me welding this tunnel in, it would have been 2 welds, then me running outside, 2 welds, then me running outside over and over again for about 45 minutes it took just to weld this in, which isn't a very big situation. It's kind of it's not that big of an area to weld. But it ended up, as you can see, it worked out really well. I'm so glad that I thought of that out of nowhere. I just kind of hammered the end in to fit the tunnel that it met. Now this is the important part of the roller. As you can see, the Kilmat, it's like bubble. There's like little bubbles on it, and when you roll it, those bubbles flatten out so that you can see where you did it and where you didn't do it. And it definitely makes it flatter, and it makes the seams better when you do this. Like you have to roll it on. I would suggest anyway. I'm not a Kilmat expert, or I'm not promoting the brand, because the roller doesn't even come with it. You have to buy it separately, but I think it was only like $6 on Amazon. I was really surprised at, you know, how much coverage this got, because when you see the box, you're holding this little box in your hand and you're thinking like there's no way that this little box is going to cover the entire floor, but it does. So the rubber edging that I was talking about, it looks like this had it at one time, like there's grooves actually made out for it. So clearly it must have had it, but someone tore it off for whatever reason. And it's so sharp, so like obviously I had to buy some of this, and I took a guess on what it was called and, you know, how much I needed, and thankfully I got like 25 feet of it, and it worked out. I still have a lot left over, which will come in handy probably in the future. But yeah, I think it makes the seats look nicer as well, having it on there. And you can definitely tell a difference when you sit in the seats and you're using those edges to prop yourself up and like position yourself. You're not cutting your hands open anymore. Now the carpet, it it's not car carpeting. It's indoor outdoor marine carpeting, which I actually have it in my basement. But I'm gonna say it didn't mold to the floor as well as I would have liked, and it was a real pain in the ass. It took me all day. I mean, it wasn't that big of a pain in the ass, but like there was some other steps. Like I bought some spray adhesive, which didn't work well at all on this carpeting because this is heavier carpeting. But there's no backing on the carpeting, so it's a little flexible. And I had to self-tap it down in a couple areas. I had to make some cuts in it in a couple areas to make it mold to the... There's so many concaves and dips in this floor, as you know. So it wasn't the best thing to use, but for $40 to carpet the inside of the car, I feel like I can live with it. It looks fine. I'm just cutting the angle iron. I bought aluminum angle iron to put along the door jambs. And I'm going to add some weather stripping there at some point. But the door's still shut fine with that. But all in all, I got the seats back in. I got the carpet in. It's, as you can see, it's not bad. Over there on the passenger side, there's like a bubble that drives me nuts. It's a little crease, but for what it is, it serves its purpose. And once I put floor mats in, that center strip going down the middle, I just put that there. I think I'm gonna try to use that as well. I think I might try to stick it down, but I just have it in there for now. I might take it out. It looks fine without it, but I just put it in there. I'm gonna put floor mats in, and it'll also, you know, it'll look better once I have some floor mats in. No one's gonna ever be in the back of this car. It's just gonna be empty. Once I put my wooden panels on the sides and in the doors, and I still have to put a rear firewall in, remember, so it'll block that off. And the trunk is done. I was able to do the entire, which it's not done. I still need to like cut that corner on the left corner, but it's done. It's in there. I mean, but for $40, literally $44, I got the entire car carpeted. And I feel like this is a wrap for the inside of the car. there's that bubble that's driving me nuts. And I'm going to put something on there to kind of weigh it down and see if it'll stay down. But that's killing me. That's the only part that bothers me about the entire project. Other than that, I'm cool with the entire inside. So, another project done, another chapter closed, and I gotta move on to the brakes, transmission, and engine. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.